Emily to Gremily here with another solo episode. Okay, a few things I want to talk about. Actually, I made myself a list because usually I end up forgetting, and then when I go back and edit, I'm like, damn it, I never said that. Okay, so we're gonna go in order. Number one, the drink of the week is just a vodka martini. I didn't feel like getting super fancy with it. I used what I had in my quote-unquote bar. So vodka martini is what we have today. It's a little strong, and I've had 2 sips, and I feel like my eyes are watering, but we're gonna power through. All right, number 2. This is episode 22, and I am so bummed that I did not have my shit together last week to mention the fact that it was episode 21, and I should have done like a cute little celebration, like she turned 21. I completely forgot. Honestly, I thought that episode was going to be episode 20. I had it labeled as episode 20. I really just like dropped the ball. I don't know where my mind was. It wasn't here. So yeah, this is episode 22. I'm really bummed I didn't do anything, but you know, whatever. Also, last week I had mentioned that I really hoped that the video of the episode wouldn't go viral because I didn't have a tan on, I didn't have my nails done, and I just overall felt like I looked like blah, for lack of a better word. And then it's like the universe spoke to me. I edited the entire video, uploaded it to YouTube. I've been having real big issues with YouTube lately. If someone has like some great ideas for me, or maybe, I mean, I'm not a tech girly. I don't really know what I'm doing. So anyway, it takes fucking forever to upload to YouTube, and I thought everything was like all gravy. I set it aside, thought it was gonna go through, and then on Wednesday, the day after the episode aired and was supposed to upload and whatnot, it showed me, I went on YouTube and it said that the video couldn't be processed. So I decided that I would put up clips on social medias, you know, TikTok, Instagram, but I didn't feel like re-uploading it to YouTube. So that episode is not on YouTube. There's only been 2 other episodes other than last week's episode that have not been uploaded to YouTube. The first one was, I believe it was Jay's very first episode that her and I did together. And it didn't upload. Well, actually, it didn't record. We got the first part of the video like recorded, and then we decided we wanted to try to be fancy and use this new little gadget that she had gotten. So we used it, but unfortunately it didn't do its job very well. I don't know, it sucked, basically it sucked. And it just stopped the recording completely, so it only recorded half of the episode. So yeah, that episode didn't get uploaded. Luckily, the great parts of the episode were filmed, so I was able to put up clips on Instagram and TikTok. The other episode I did not upload was the episode I did with Robert. And that was because he didn't want to show his beautiful face. And it felt like, I don't know, the video just felt weird, just me sitting there talking off camera. I just felt like it looked weird and a little narcissistic. So I just decided not to upload it. So yes, 3 episodes out of the 22, or out of the 21, weren't uploaded. Yeah. So this one will be, unless something terribly is happening behind the scenes right now and it's not filming, it's going to be uploaded, even if I look like poo, because I've uploaded episodes before and I'm like, oh my God, I hate the way I look, but you know, it's my own fault. What can we do? Okay, and the last thing I wanted to talk about was last week I kicked it off to you guys saying if you guys have any crime gossip that you wanted to send in, to send it in. And I was afraid of what I was gonna get, but you guys delivered it. You sent in some great gossip. So for this episode, I have 2 gremlin stories and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of gossip. This entire episode is just gonna be the crime episode. So with that, I need to include a trigger warning at the beginning of this, that this episode is going to talk about death and murder, basically. That's sometimes a sensitive subject for people, But yeah, this episode is gonna be just nothing but true crime stuff that you guys have sent me. One of the gremlin stories I had gotten before I put out that call to action, but I picked it because it involved some crime. And then the rest you guys recently just sent in this past week. So thank you so much for delivering that. And yeah, this is just like the true crime episode. Very excited. Yeah, like I said, my boyfriend and I, all we watch is just like true crime. Just binged watched this show. It's crazy how quickly we can go through a show, especially like on the ID channel. It's not like they do like thousands of episodes of a series. It's kind of annoying because they like get you hooked on a series and then they only put out like 20 episodes of it and you're like, God damn it. And the episodes are only like a half hour long, but whatever. We just finished watching this show called Your Worst Nightmare. That was a really good one. So if anyone needs recommendations, that one's really good. Other ones that we have watched were like Fear Thy Neighbor, Fear Thy Roommate. I think they were like kind of going together, like hand in hand. There have been others. I will put out like a recommendation list for like people who are interested. Also, last night we just watched, it was on Netflix, that new documentary, Unknown Number. I don't want to give it away, but what it's about is this high school girl and her boyfriend, I think they're like 14, 15 years old. They are being cyber stalked and cyber bullied through these text messages through an unknown number, hence the title. And it becomes so much that, you know, it's a very small town in Michigan that they live in. So then they start becoming suspicious of everyone in the town. It really weighs on them. And at 14 and 15 years old, you have enough to worry about. You don't need to worry about someone, you know, cyber stalking you and bullying you. And this person who's sending these text messages are telling the girl, like, you need to kill yourself. You know, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, just like really hateful language. And the documentary explores what happened during it, how the FBI got involved, and how the FBI figured out who was sending the messages, which is, it's a doozy of one, because I knew it was gonna happen because of TikTok, because, you know, I live on TikTok, but my boyfriend did not know. And when he saw it, he was like, what the fuck? Like, it was wild. So I recommend that. It was a great one. It's on Netflix, Unknown Number. I think it just came out maybe like last week. So as you guys are listening to this, I guess 2 weeks ago, but I would recommend that. But yeah, if you guys are interested in like true crime recommendations and whatnot, let me know. I'll put those out. We always just watch it on HBO Max, and you could like go through channel, and we go to the ID channel and then just like find something. There's some good shows on there. So yeah, so if you're interested in those, check it out. And with that, we're gonna start with the 2 gremlin stories that were submitted, and then we're gonna go into gremlin gossip. No gremlin guidance today because it felt weird to throw that in the middle of such darkness of this episode. So maybe next time, but this one, it's all crime. And let's start with gremlin stories. Actually, I'm gonna have a drink first because we're about to get into it. Okay. Ooh, geez Louise. Okay, the first one comes to us from Roxanne. Roxanne says, I was partying down in Miami for a friend's birthday, and we of course all got super drunk. After a long night, we decided to call it quits and head back to the hotel. My friend calls an Uber for a group of 4. We were all swaying on the sidewalk waiting. Finally, he pulls up and we all smush into the van. It was one of those party Ubers that are decked out in disco lights and playing loud music. And the car wasn't the only thing that was partying. Our driver was high in all capital letters. And not just a couple bumps down the road high. I mean, he had been partying for days. His eyes are as wild as his hair. His teeth are chattering a mile a minute, and his fingers are nervously tapping the wheel. Our hotel was about 2 miles away from the club, but this guy drove at the speed of light and was bouncing in between cars and lanes like a madman. We were scared to death. The ride took less than 5 minutes, but by the time we made it, we had all sobered up out of fear from our experience. I told my friend who ordered the Uber to report him, but she's such a relentless people pleaser and gave him a 5-star rating. So we almost died gremlins, but luckily I'm alive and able to write about it. Roxanne. Oh my God. Roxanne's friend. You need to give him a no star. Can you do no stars on Uber? I don't know. 1 star, because if you do lower than like a 4-star, they ask you why. Girl, you need to report that. I get it, it's Miami, and you know, Miami has that reputation. But girl, like, safety first. He could have killed you guys. He could kill someone else. He could get into an accident. He could hit a pedestrian. Anything could have happened, and it's safety first. Yeah, I'm sure this guy is used to it because he does it all the time, but that doesn't make it okay. Like, the point of ordering an Uber is to know that you're putting your safety in someone else's hands. You don't want to be out, you know, drinking and having a good time and celebrating your friend's birthday, and then you get into an Uber and the guy's, you know, worse off than you are. That's terrifying. Luckily, I've never had an experience like this. I have been in some unsafe Ubers, just like, where not like because the guy was high or drunk. He just like drove really recklessly. And it's scary. And I have, you know, I did feel like a Karen at the time when I reported it, but the way he took, like, at first I was like, maybe I'm just being a little dramatic. So I got out of the car. The way he pulled away from the sidewalk, I was like, oh my God, like, this man needs to not be driving for Uber. So always report a bad Uber experience. Yeah, because we call Ubers so that, you know, we're putting our safety in other people's hands, which is a hard enough job as it is being, you know, young women. You know, there's a lot of scary people out there. We don't need our Uber drivers to fucking add to the fear. Please and thank you. All right. And the next one, considering what I just said, the next one is from Viv. Viv said, "This happened a few weeks ago while out celebrating my birthday, Leo twins. My boyfriend and I were out drinking in the downtown Chicago area. I was starting to get sloppy drunk, so he decided it was time for us to go home. We are outside waiting for our Uber when right in front of us, we witness a hit and run. This car comes zooming over and hits these 2 girls walking across the street and then takes off. The police were called and the ambulance takes the 2 girls away, and because we were witnesses to a crime, we were interviewed by the police. My boyfriend gave a much better statement than I did, but it shocked me so much that my adrenaline kind of woke me up. We later found out it was a drunk driver who was later caught and arrested, thank God. Not a very happy ending to my gremlin birthday night. Viv." Like I just said, drunk driving, whether you're high or drunk, like, it needs to stop. Hopefully this guy wasn't an Uber driver and had passengers in his vehicle. And she never said what happened to the 2 girls. Let's hope it was just, I don't know, some bumps and bruises. I would hate to think that something worse happened to them. Yeah, as of right now, I don't know, knock on wood, that I've never been hit by a car, I've never hit something else with my vehicle. Yeah, I've luckily never witnessed this kind of thing. That's scary. I wouldn't wish to see that. I like true crime, but like I said last week, I don't want to be a part of it. So, yes. So thank you, Roxanne and Viv, for those 2 gremlin stories. And now we're getting into the meat of the episode, the gremlin gossip. Like I said, you guys delivered on it. This is just some of what I received. There is more. But yeah, I don't want to go through all of it. And then what if I don't receive anything else for like gremlin gossip crime? If I can turn this into like kind of like a little mini series, I'd like to. So I picked the ones that came through first. I did make all of these anonymous. As a matter of fact, I believe all of them were, with the exception of one. And I just decided to omit the name, given the gravity of what was talked about and discussed. So, yes. Again, trigger warning. This does deal with death, murder, Yeah, let's hope no one's sensitive to that. I'm gonna take another drink because we got some crazy submissions today. Okay, so the first gremlin gossip from Anonymous says, so do we all work with murderers? I have some gossip that isn't really gossip because it made the news. A male coworker of mine married his high school sweetheart and while on their honeymoon, murdered her. It shocked us all. I wouldn't have pegged him as the murdering type, but I guess you never know. Anonymous. Yeah, that's crazy. She didn't say the age of the male coworker who murdered his high school sweetheart. I'm assuming he did it for like life insurance, because why would you go through an entire wedding? Like, planning a wedding is frustrating. There's no way he was frustrated with her throughout the whole thing and then decided to kill her on the honeymoon. It has to be like a life insurance reason behind it. So I assume, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't assume with these kind of things. I don't know. Okay, I'll keep my mouth shut. All right, the next one. Anonymous says, I went to high school with a guy who is now serving life in prison for murder. He was always in trouble at school, and I know his home life was really shitty. But several years after graduation, he went on a string of robberies, and in his last one, he was caught by the homeowner and stabbed her to death and fled. This happened back before social media was everywhere, so I ended up finding out at my 10-year high school reunion. Anonymous. I feel like I'm gonna keep saying throughout this whole episode. You know, it's crazy because, like you said, social media now is everywhere. So I feel like I have like somewhat of a decent grasp on like the people I went to high school with, like what they're doing, what they're up to. You know, like anytime you see like a post, it's usually them posting like that they just, they're moving, they just got engaged, they're married, they had a baby, they're starting a business, all that. Obviously you're not going to be posting if you did something bad and committed a crime. But I was thinking about it when I read that, and I was like, did I go to high school with anyone who like I thought would end up like that? And I couldn't think of anyone. I don't know. I like to think that my high school was like special because we didn't have like the typical like mean girl cliques and whatnot. At least in my head, we didn't. Don't come for me, class of 2011. If we did, I guess I was just oblivious to it. But yeah, I would like to think I didn't go to high school with. I would like to think I didn't go to high school with anyone capable of that. There were some like, I guess, oddballs you could say, but they didn't give off like sinister vibes is what I'm going at. So yeah, that's a terrible story, as are the rest of these. So we'll move on. The next one, again, Anonymous. Anonymous says, when I was a kid, I lived down the street from a mass murderer. He had always kept to himself and gave off really strange vibes, but anytime I would see him, he had a new and different girl with him. I never thought much of it until his house was raided and he was convicted of murdering all of these women. It's creepy to look back on and think that the women I saw arm in arm with him ended up as his victims. Anonymous. That's terrifying too. I usually like to pick stories that I have something to say with, like I can like, I guess, banter with myself about, or at least give like a follow-up story or how this could tie into, myself, even though that sounds really narcissistic too. But yeah, just like the way, like something I can just like talk about. And I don't really have anything to say about any of these. That's terrifying. And yeah, I have nothing to say. I wish I did. Actually, no, I don't. I wish I don't have anything to say about it because this is all terrible. And again, I laugh when I'm nervous, and I'm making myself nervous right now. So yeah, it's not funny. But that's scary. Yeah, that's like when it's like looking It's like watching a movie. You know, you see something happening and then you find out the real plot of it and you're like, oh my God. It's something like that. Okay. This episode's heavy as hell. Okay. Next one. Anonymous. She says, my high school boyfriend is now serving time in prison for vehicular manslaughter. He was driving drunk and slammed into a car, killing a mother and daughter and seriously injuring the father. Back in high school, he was a nice guy, but he definitely did drink at house parties, sometimes way too much. But luckily did not have a car back then. I think after high school, he spiraled into his alcohol addiction, and these were the unfortunate consequences. His mom was a sweet, hardworking, single woman who I know was devastated by his actions. But I still think about that poor man who lost his wife and child in the blink of an eye. It makes you realize life is precious and to savor the moment and the people you are with. Anonymous. Okay, this one, like, I don't know, made me like teary almost. Because yeah, you think about, I mean, I'm one of those people who, and anyone who's listening to this who like knows me personally knows that I overthink a situation. If I don't hear from someone, I'm like, oh my God, something happened to them. But it's true, like anything could happen at any moment. We're not promised the next minute, the next hour, the next day. So yeah, to think that that guy, that the father and husband, he was just, you know, driving somewhere with his wife and kid, and this happened because this guy could, you know, got behind the wheel of a car when he shouldn't have. That's terrifying. So yeah, again, I feel like this message of this episode is don't drink and drive, because we've had 3 stories where, three stories where, you know, getting behind the wheel of a car when you're inebriated is scary. And this specific story ended in death of 2 people who, you know, were just probably trying to go home that day. So don't drink and drive. Don't, you know, that's what Ubers are there for, and hopefully your Uber driver's okay. But yes, also savor the moment and the people you are with. Okay, next anonymous. Actually, this was the one who signed her name, but I left you anonymous. I hope you're not mad, but you know, I'll address you at the end. She says, my friend turned me on to this podcast, and when you asked for true crime gossip, I knew I had to write in. This insane girl I worked with at a club ended up killing her boyfriend in a coke-fueled rage. We worked together as cocktail waitresses and bottle girls at this prominent club, and I don't think I had ever seen her sober. She was nice, but definitely on the wild side. But she missed her shift one night, and then we find out it's because she was arrested for beating her boyfriend with a bottle and then using the broken edge to stab him multiple times. It was all over the news, and I stayed up to date on her trial out of pure morbid curiosity. I have some gremlin stories to write in next, so hopefully you'll read this and my upcoming submissions. Anonymous. Okay, that I kept you anonymous, but yes, please send me in your gremlin stories. I will say your name then. Like I said, I just felt like I should keep everyone anonymous given like the gravity of the situation. But this is probably the only one I have something to say with. Like I have like a story with, I guess, like so to say. Okay, I've been a cocktail waitress, I've been a bottle girl, so I know what that's like, and of course, drugs are going through the place, you know. That's how the girls stay hit, like all peppy and whatnot, but, you know, that's besides the point. Not to out myself, I have done the nose candy, and it never made me want to stab anyone or murder anyone. It made me want to, you know, just like shake my ass a little bit. Not that I'm promoting people doing that. I don't need people coming for me for that. But yeah, that's what made me think maybe this wasn't just cocaine. Not that I'm saying cocaine is good. I'm just saying I don't think it was just that. Like I'm probably thinking that it was laced with something else. I did know someone, I wasn't obviously present for this, but I did know someone who was doing that. I'm trying to like find my words here, but I guess it doesn't matter. I did know someone who was high off of coke, but it was laced with like PCP, and this person ended up flipping out at another person's home, was like smashing like bottles and glasses and tables and like screaming, and ran outside. Like he was in a tizzy. Anyway, the police came. He's now in jail. Actually, I don't know where he is now, but he was taken to jail at that time. So that's what makes me think it's like more than just cocaine. Like that was laced with something else. And then you said that it was all over the news, so I stayed up to date on her trial out of pure morbid curiosity. So I do know someone who was arrested. It made the news. It was like on TMZ and this and that. And I understand the morbid curiosity. Like I stayed up to date on what was happening on that case, on that trial. And I was like Googling the person's name and the other people who were involved in the case, because I wanted to see like the developments and what was happening, and was it going to trial? Was it being pled out? Like I was just like, it was just like you said, a morbid curiosity. I was just curious, and we've already established I'm the nosiest person to have ever lived. So of course I was Googling and whatnot. So I understand that it is a morbid curiosity. I had no connection to it. I had no stake in the game. I was just wanting to know what was happening. So I understand it. And also send in your gremlin stories. I will absolutely happily read them and discuss them and say your name on future episodes. Hopefully you're not mad at me because I didn't say your name on this one. But thank you for your submission. I very much appreciate it. And send in those stories. Okay, and the last one is, I saved it for last. Like I said before, I don't really have a formula for how I deliver the gossips or the stories or anything like that. But I saved this one for last because this one bothered me. It left me feeling like, I'm trying to think of the right word. Not sick, but just like I had to like kind of catch my breath after I read it. Like I felt what you were feeling at that time. So with that, this is our very last gossip, and yeah, I guess I'll just read it right now. She says, so I have a coworker I have worked with since 2021. I have no basis for this or any evidence, but I'm 100% convinced he is a killer or has killed at least one person in his lifetime. I have just never gotten a good feeling from him, and the longer I know him, the more I convince myself. When I started at the company, I was just an intern, so I would interact with him every now and then, but now in my current position, we work in the same department. He always gave off bad energy, but now that I have to spend time with him, I see how dark he really is. And it's not just a creepy vibe, it's a pit in my stomach, gut-wrenching feeling that he is bad. He is good at his job, but he does not have any friends in the office. When he does interact, it is strange, almost inhuman-like. He stares at you as if he is studying you and speaks in a very perfectionist, thought-out, very slow way. I shared the elevator with him once, and he stood next to me and slowly turned his head and looked me up and down as if taking me in. I said hello, and he simply said, hello, completely expressionless. Now I refuse to take the elevator with him, always making an excuse to take the next one. Others think he's strange too, but you can't be fired for being weird. But mark my words, we will end up seeing him in the news. Signed, Afraid. Yeah. It was just the way she wrote it and the description she gave. It's reading serial killer. I don't know. That's how you picture like the Jeffrey Dahmers and the Ted Bundy. Actually, I heard, or not heard. I'm acting like people have told me specific, like personally. I've read that Ted Bundy was very like personable. but it's like how you would imagine someone to be. I'm at a loss of words, which is not good if I'm trying to run a goddamn podcast. But yeah, it's what you would picture. It's the way they would, if you were writing a movie and you want it to be very clear cut who the bad guy is, that's how you would write him. Just the office scary man who, you know, does something terrible. This one bothered me. I felt your fear. I felt like it resonated with me. That's why I saved it for last, because I was like, this one was the one that made me scared. It, you know, like you said, maybe we'll see him. I mean, I hope we don't see him in the news. I really hope he's just some really weird guy who is maybe just very antisocial and not an absolute sociopath who like tortures people. Yeah, signed Afraid. Ditto, baby. I don't know. I wouldn't want to work with this person. He scares me. I don't work with him. I don't know him. I'm dying to know what he looks like. Obviously, do not take a picture of him to send to me. It's really not that important. But yeah, in my head, I feel like I can picture him like he's very tall and slender and like has like a horseshoe hair because he's balding on top. And he wears like those very thin wireframe glasses and he has like little beady eyes. That's the way I'm picturing him. Yeah, and he brings a lunch every day and it's the same thing every single day. Like he doesn't vary from what he's eating because he has a very strict schedule and he has to do this and this and this. Actually, that sounds like me because I have OCD. But I promise you I'm not a murderer. But yeah, so Afraid, signed Afraid. I hope that this person is not a scary person and you have no terrible interactions with him. And you don't see him on the news and you find out he's just a weirdo. You know, some people are just weird. That's okay. All right, I'm gonna have a drink of this because I kind of worked myself up. Oh, that's cool. I spilled a little bit. Well, whatever. So normally I end these episodes on a really jovial note. This one I feel like it's hard to do because we just talked about something so heavy and scary, to be quite honest, but that's okay. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading all of the stories and the gossips that came in. Like I said, these aren't the only ones that came in. There are more. But I didn't want to run through all of them and then have nothing, so I can like make this like a little series. So if you have any more, how about this? It doesn't have to be crime. It's just if you have gremlin stories, if you need gremlin guidance, if you have gremlin gossip, it can involve crime. It can involve just really normal things. It can involve, your stories can just be about crazy debauchery, the way we've always done it for the past 22 episodes, or 21 technically. Yeah, send all your stories, all your gossip, and any guidance that you need. Send those in. You can email the podcast, emilytogrimleypod@gmail.com. You can also watch this podcast, minus 3 episodes, but you can watch this episode and all past episodes on YouTube, Emily to Gremley Pod on YouTube. And make sure to follow us on social media, myself and the podcast, Emily to Gremley Pod on Instagram and TikTok. And yes, so hopefully I didn't bum you guys out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I love true crime. Hopefully I get better about talking about it. I love watching it. I guess I didn't know how to deliver this properly. It feels like almost like I'm doing my very first episode. It feels a little bit clunky. Hopefully I'm not absolutely ruining this and myself and the podcast with it, but I don't think I am. I really enjoyed reading everything you guys sent in, and I'm very excited to do more submissions. I do have some episodes lined up because we're heading into October soon, involving Halloween aspects. So I will be excited about that. Maybe I'll save those crime gossips for one of my Halloween episodes. I mean, Halloween's like my second favorite holiday. Actually, second? I don't know. I love Christmas. I love my birthday because I'm a Leo. And I love Halloween. I guess in no particular order, but yeah. So I love Halloween. We're going to make Halloween a big deal here on the podcast. And yes, send in all your gremlin stories, your gremlin gossips, crime or not crime, doesn't matter. Just send it all to me. I'll filter through it. And if you have any gremlin guidance, make sure to send those in as well. I have some upcoming guests that I'm very excited to share the guidance with and get their take and their perspective on it. So it should be exciting. Again, gremlin stories, gremlin guidance, gremlin gossip. Email me, emilytogremlinpod@gmail.com. And yeah, that's the episode. Hopefully I didn't bum you guys out. Cheers. This is like the first episode I've drank this much of a drink. I'm gonna chug it, finish it, and go about my day. Love you guys. Cheersies. Bye.